Mom was always pushing me to work quicker, so I moved away from home to the mountains. How come? What do you say? Unbelievably, my sister had abandoned our mother in the highlands when I returned from a work trip. I screamed, horrified by my sister's horrible act. Even my sister is attempting to get me to leave the house. My sister leads a messy life and neglects her job and chores to the point where I can no longer put up with her. This is not excused. Emma is my name. I'm 28 years old and never married. My life revolves around my work, and I reside at my parents' house. Since my job is close to my house, I can ride my bike during rush hour. I wanted to live independently, but I was unable to do so because Dad passed away too soon. Even if Mom is still in her 50s, she will get older. Finding a balance between work and housework is getting harder. I lend a hand, but I'm concerned about Mom being alone. Even after I get married, I should think about moving close by if I were to leave. But as of yet, I have no plans for marriage. I haven't had a partner since I graduated from high school, since I've been too busy with my job and caring for my parents. Yes, since high school, I haven't had a boyfriend. I really do want to be married, and it would make Mom happy to have grandchildren. Mom's smiles have been tinged with melancholy ever since Dad passed away. I haven't planned a marriage, though. If that's the case, I can only depend on Katie. Katie is the name of my sister. Katie, who turns 26 this year, is 2 years my junior. At the age of 25, she tied the knot last year and is currently living the honeymoon phase. I don't get along well with Katie. We've been at odds all of our lives. Katie is conceited. She always thinks she is correct, which makes me feel less than. She frequently makes fun of me and acts arrogant. Throughout our early years, she would boast, "Look, big sis. My mom got me these adorable clothing." Along with some pocket money, I also received another new gift, but our parents never gave her any preference. She would respond, "Well, yours look inferior and the design is bad," in response to my statement that I had received the same items. My own is far superior. If my exam results were a little lower, she would hold me accountable. She would add, "I'm the younger sister, so everything I say is 100% true. It's embarrassing to have such a dumb sister." She would respond, "You should bear it." She would daringly steal my favorite dish during meals. With an oddly complacent demeanor, she would add, "I'll use your clothes and bags because it suits me better." But why? She used to call them gaudy. She doesn't hear what I have to say. Her strange spirit of competition hasn't subsided even as an adult. She joyfully said, "Sorry, but I got married before you, big sis," at her wedding last year. I can't resist it. I'm more appealing. She's good at playing the part. Her husband doesn't know the real woman. She should be able to lead a calm married life because being silent doesn't hurt her partner. I didn't disclose Katie's actual nature because I believed that. To be honest, I was thrilled when Katie got married and moved out. I did not want her engagement to be broken by an inane remark, in which case she would go back home. Katie doesn't have a job after graduating. It's not a job for someone like me. It's boring and I quickly lose interest, she said after working for a while before quitting. She eventually pretended to be practicing housework in order to get out of her job. Katie has never done any cleaning for me at home. Mom is unhappy, but she reluctantly agrees to let her go because it's difficult to remove her. I have no right to stop it as long as Mom approves. Katie takes advantage of Mom's silence to harass her and pester her for money. She chuckles even when I sternly address her, asking, "Why are you jealous that Mom loves me?" Katie doesn't care what I say. She lives her own life. But nevertheless, her fun personality paid off and she was married. It's unclear if she solicited the man or if she was picked up, but getting married was the successful outcome. After being married, Katie has lived a peaceful life and has never gone back home. To be honest, even if she had kids, it's unlikely that she would come back. As is typical of her demeanor, she will undoubtedly drop the kids off at the end of the day so she can go out. I must consider how to handle that situation while living such days. I was surprised when Katie visited after I returned from work. "Oh, Katie, it's rare to see you. What about your husband?" It seems she came alone. It was a weekday, so normally she would be at work. "Ah, actually, I'm divorced now and I'll be staying here again." I was slow to respond to her sudden confession of divorce. "Wait, divorce? But it's only been a year since you got married. Duration doesn't matter. I just got bored with him." Bored? I couldn't catch up with this shocking fact at first, but finally I understood. At that moment I couldn't help but shout, "You're loud. Just be quiet. You really are vulgar as always." Truly embarrassing as a sister. She still spoke harsh words to me. "Wait, what do you mean by divorce? Staying here? What are you talking about?" "I'm getting divorced, so I'm saying I'll move back to our parents' house. Don't you understand?" Ah, this rude tone. How nostalgic. However, it wasn't the time to feel nostalgic. "Wait a minute. I don't mind you living here, but what about your job? Are you not planning to work again?" It was unacceptable. Before I could say more, Katie slammed the table hard. "Be quiet. I'm heartbroken from the divorce. Can't you be a little considerate of your sister for once? You're always so selfish, you single woman." Despite her earlier claims of being bored, it's incomprehensible how she could be hurt. As I stood bewildered, Katie continued, "Anyway, I need time to heal my emotional wounds now, so you better earn well." What? I was so astonished by her one-sided claim that I couldn't help but exclaim. Katie snickered and returned to her room. No way! I was so stunned I couldn't speak. The days ahead were difficult. Even when I returned home tired, I couldn't find peace at home. Katie didn't do housework and always spent her time watching TV on the sofa. When Mom used the vacuum cleaner, Katie would yell, "Be quiet. I can't hear the TV." When asked who would pay for her smartphone, she replied, "Of course, Mom does." Thinking about where Mom's money came from. Was it from my earnings, Mom's salary, or part of the inheritance left by Dad? This needed to stop. "Mom, it's not good to spoil Katie like this," I kept saying, but Mom was in a complicated situation. There are times to let things be, but the recent divorce stirred Mom's sympathy. It's hard for me, who has no children, to understand a parent's feelings, but I avoid being too assertive since Mom is the head of the household. Amidst this, Katie has become even more presumptuous. "Aren't you embarrassed to go to work without makeup? Or is that with makeup embarrassing? You're asking me why I didn't ask before eating the new sweets you put in the fridge. It's only natural. I'll eat them instead since you'll just get uglier if you get fatter. Be grateful." "That branded bag in your room, was it fake? It broke immediately when I hit a bug on the wall with it." Every day, Katie's arrogant words never end. I've decided, seeing the branded bag she used and broke on her own, I clenched my fist in anger. This is a battle. I have no choice. A fight between sisters is about to begin. But I am an adult. I cannot stoop to the level of my still immature sister. Therefore, I decided to have a serious discussion with Mom and the three of us. However, the timing was bad, and I suddenly had to go on a business trip for a week. Normally, Mom can manage on her own for a week, but this situation is different, especially with Katie being difficult to handle. If only Mom weren't around, I could properly educate Katie alone. On the other hand, I'm very worried about leaving them alone together. "Katie, make sure you help out with the chores," I cautioned, but Katie retorted while eating potato chips, "Stop nagging. I'm letting Mom work to keep her energetic." We argued again. After I said, "That's not right," I left with an uneasy atmosphere and headed for my business trip. During the business trip, a week of focused, error-free work followed. There was no contact from Mom, and I returned home with a mix of relief and anxiety. "I'm home. Are you home, Mom?" Exhausted, I called for Mom from the entrance. Normally, Mom would be home on her day off, but the house was silent and there was no response. Maybe she went shopping? Not seeing Mom's shoes, I was about to enter the house when I heard, "Welcome back." Katie appeared and said, Mom isn't here anymore." Katie's reply felt strange. "What do you mean she isn't here?" "Yesterday, Mom suddenly got angry. She had enough telling me to work and do household chores." That sounds tough. It seems that during my absence, Mom finally exploded in anger at Katie, who is always lazy. When Mom came home tired from work and Katie made various demands, Mom must have finally lost her temper. Because she kept nagging me to work faster, I dumped Mom off in the mountains. What? What are you saying? I struggled to understand. I knew that Mom and Katie had a fierce argument, but how did that lead to leaving her in the mountains? What in the mountains? Finally grasping the situation, I raised my voice. "It's true. I thought she'd cool off by driving a bit. We have a small car at home, which I mainly use on weekends, but Mom doesn't have a driving license. So we got out of the car because the air was fresh in the mountains. I got out, and while Mom was distracted by something else, I drove back home. What on earth? Isn't this a legal issue? How could she abandon her? Perhaps this is a crime, but maybe it will only be considered so if it involves endangering life. However, it might actually have been a dangerous situation. That's a crime." "What are you talking about? It was just a little prank to get Mom's attention. I gave her wallet to her and dropped her off on a paved mountain road, so as an adult, she should be able to make her way back. If someone passes by, she should be able to ask for help. How could you even think of doing such a thing, especially on such a cold day? Enough already. You leave this place too." "Wait, what did you just say?" "Katie, shut up, shut up, shut up. I have the right to live here, and you and Mom have the duty to support me. Do you understand that? There is no such duty. I can't believe an adult is saying this. However, my objection only made her angrier, and she pushed me forcefully. I was too tired to resist her strength, and she pushed me out of the house. Just leave, and when you're ready to support me, you can come back." "What?" Katie slammed the door shut and locked it, with the door guard in place. I have the key, but it's useless with the door guard in place. I circled the garden, but all the windows were locked, and the curtains were drawn, so I couldn't see inside. I tried calling Katie's mobile, but it was turned off. There was no answer despite knocking on the door. However, not being able to enter is not the main problem right now. I'm worried about Mom. I tried contacting Mom's mobile phone, but it didn't connect, presumably because she was in the mountains. This is a bad sign. Fortunately, I had the car keys, so I immediately jumped into the car. The destination seemed vague, but actually there was a clear way to know. It was through the car navigation system. It's unlikely that my reclusive sister could accurately target a mountain. When I checked the navigation history as expected, a specific mountain was recorded. I quickly drove towards that location. Fortunately, Mom was safe. When I found her at a shop near the entrance of the hiking trail, I couldn't stop my tears. Apparently, Mom had walked hard and was resting there. "I'm really relieved, Emma. Thank you." We both shed tears, but thankfully she looked healthy. However, it's not the time to cry. How could Katie do this? This is unforgivable. I said this as I looked at Mom. I can't stand this anymore. Mom nodded in response to my question, seeking her agreement. Mom was angry at Katie's laziness, and due to Katie's unbelievable actions, Mom finally made a decision. Katie will have to prepare herself. That night we stayed in a hotel. The next day we returned home. Again, even when I rang the intercom, Katie did not respond. Calling Katie's mobile was futile as it remained off. So I kept calling the home phone nonstop. As I expected, it was unlikely that Katie had set up an answering machine. The fact that the phone rang continuously was proof of that. Confirming that I could faintly hear the sound, I started pounding on the front door. Fortunately, due to the distance to neighboring houses, we could do so without disturbing them. "Katie, open up." Mom also raised her voice with me. At that moment, I heard noise from someone running down the stairs inside the house. The next instant, the front door swung open forcefully. "Stop it! Why so early in the morning?" Well, you can't just come in. It's our house." "What do you mean we can't just come in?" Ignoring Katie's attempt to stop us, we entered the house. "Wait a minute. Katie, you have no right to stop us." "Mom, you're back already. Have you both reflected a little? By the way, I've decided to turn this house into an eremb. I'll earn from it, so there's no place for you two here." We were shocked by her words. "Don't be ridiculous. Do you think that's going to work? You're the one who needs to reflect." I retorted and turned my back to my sister. "Look outside the window." I directed, though skeptical. Katie looked outside, seeing the person behind Mom. She started shaking. "Oh, what? Matt." Matt was the husband she had claimed to have lost interest in and had already divorced. "Why is Matt here?" Matt then spoke in a bewildered tone. "I was contacted by your sister-in-law. You said you grew tired of me, but that's not all, right? You were messing around with other men while I was at work. I'll accept the divorce, but be ready to pay a hefty compensation." Actually, there was a reason why Katie had suddenly come back. She had fled from her husband after an affair came to light, and before the problem escalated, she quickly escaped back to this house. Of course, he had tried to contact her, but she did not respond. He hadn't contacted our house because he didn't know our contact details. In fact, Katie had given him a fake phone number. Usually, it's rare for a husband to call his wife's parents' house, so he did not realize the number was fake. Moreover, he didn't even know our address. His first meeting with our family took place at a restaurant, and since he had never visited our house even after they got married, he didn't know our address. Katie had even provided a fake address. However, when Mom and I arrived at the hotel last night, I immediately tried to contact his workplace. We didn't know his direct phone number, but Mom remembered the name of the company, so we were able to get in touch. Thinking it was still business hours, I called and got connected immediately. When I spoke to him on the phone about Katie, we found out about her affair. "There's no way I can pay the compensation. You're young and healthy, so find a job and pay it properly." His firm stance left Katie speechless. Then she quickly turned to Mom. "Mom, will you help me?" "No." Katie tried to persuade Mom while crying but was immediately rejected. Then Katie turned to me again. She was crying. "Sis, help me." "Help me? Aren't I your dear sister?" "Dear sister? Where is that person?" I pretended to look around jokingly, and she scolded me. "This is no joke. To abandon me at a time like this. Are you really my family? You're heartless. Matt, I truly regret it. Can't we live together again?" Katie then turned to Matt. Apparently, she was good at being shameless. However, his expression was icy. "That's out of the question. What do you plan to do if we get back together? Lazing around like before?" "Well, because I'm beautiful. Just being with me makes you happy, right?" "You're talking in your sleep. Our divorce is already decided. From now on, let's communicate through a lawyer." "Furthermore, huh? What? Wait, Matt, you're not that beautiful. You're average. How could you say that?" Katie was at a loss for words after hearing his final remark, leaving a stunned Katie behind. Matt thanked Mom and me and left. Katie stood dumbfounded. When I looked at Mom, she nodded. "Shall we begin?" "Yes, let's." As we said that, we began our actions. "Huh? What are you doing?" Katie noticed and panicked. "What do you mean, me? What? We're cleaning up your stuff." "Hey, don't just do whatever you want." Mom and I decided to move all her belongings out of her room, but Katie desperately tried to stop us. We ignored her resistance and continued. "We're not throwing anything away. We're just moving it outside. You're free to do as you like." "What is that? That makes no sense. Put it back right now." "Mom, say something." "Be quiet." Mom dismissed Katie's plea and spoke sternly. "I no longer feel the need or obligation to protect you. When you left me in the mountains, my love for you disappeared. It was my responsibility to raise you to adulthood, but I have done enough. Leave right now. But I have nowhere to go. Sis, help me. Katie, you are beautiful, so surely someone will take care of you soon. Saying that with a smile, I threw out the last of her belongings. Most of it will probably just sit there, so I'll have to contact a disposal company later. Katie was unable to enter the house since her possessions were in the way. Okay, then be careful. I shut the door, locked it, and made sure everything was safe. Katie could not come back to our home. We eventually phoned the police when she continued to insist, at which point she appeared to lose her mind and fled, taking very little with her. Katie, who attempted to use us for her own benefit, ultimately lost everything. She made a couple attempts to get in touch with us in the past, but we never got back to her. Even though she was unstable and alternated between tears and fury, her husband kept us informed about her condition on a regular basis, and their divorce was formally finalized. With her meager savings at first, Katie was able to get by, but they soon ran out. Reluctantly, she took a part-time work, which of course didn't last long. She then switched to night employment, which offered a greater salary, but it too didn't last long. We eventually lost interest in her. Katie finally found herself in a difficult situation and disappeared, without any help from her family or from us. She had also lost the ability to compensate her ex-husband. We don't know where she went or what transpired after that. One of our cousins happened to see her in the city only once, although it was difficult to identify her because of her ratty attire. Katie vanished from sight the instant her relative attempted to talk to her. Katie will most likely continue to survive by relying on other people, but she won't be able to live much longer if she only relies on her good looks and youth. She has a tough truth to face. She's shown no introspection in spite of all. We're not heartless. We were ready to welcome her back if she had truly apologized. In the end, though, Katie was unable to comprehend her family's emotions and our sympathy. She was, in that regard, a genuinely unfortunate individual. In my case, I was able to return to the calm, everyday existence I shared with my mother. Our days are comfortable and serene again. We are living life to the fullest, gazing forward and not back.